with President Trump, of course, and many CEOs saying deregulation is where you need to go for growth. Joining us now is Matt Winkler. He's Bloomberg's editor-in-chief emeritus. And Matt, you actually have weighed in a piece on the Bloomberg today on this question about, does regulation detract from growth, or might it actually promote growth?
It definitely promotes growth, and you can see that in California, which is 1/7 of the GDP of the United States. And California is 39 million people. Its economy is rivaling the UK right now as number 5 in the world. And California has the most regulations of any state, maybe of any country in the world, with respect to climate, with respect to protecting people from the hazards of working conditions and things like that. And yet, it's a mecca for investment. The markets have rewarded California companies in the Russell 3000, for example, big and small companies alike, have outperformed companies across the board consistently for the past 5 years. And California's GDP, by the way, has outperformed the US GDP, and it's outperformed every developed economy, save China, which is not a developed economy.
There's no question that California is a success story economically. There's no question they have a lot of regulation. There could be a question about whether the two are connected, actually. I mean, it might be that they're succeeding despite the regulation.
It's actually something that Elizabeth Warren just said. The people of California voted for this. It's not like this is something that's been imposed upon them. This is a convergence of people's preferences and policy. They're coming together. And by the way, Jerry Brown, who's in his 4th term as governor, he was the Earth Day president, if you recall. I mean, people refer to him as Moonbeam somewhat derisively, but in fact, when you look back on it, it's rather a compliment, because he anticipated, as a policymaker, the challenges that would become very important in the 21st century. And he saw them, back in the 1980s when he was governor. So this isn't anything new. California has been about this for some time. One, by the way, really good example is clean energy. It is a 21st century industry. It is growing rapidly, and California dominates this in the world. There is no place in the world where clean energy is more dynamic than California.
So something I find puzzling, Matt, is that I have not found a CEO yet who says that more regulation is good for their business or for growth. I find a lot of CEOs that come into this program and say the reverse, that it really is holding back growth. People who disagree about tax policy, about health care, about everything else, they seem to be uniform that said that regulation really is holding back growth. Why are they all wrong?
Well, why are they so many of them in California is the question, and staying in California. And 3 of the largest companies in the top 10 are domiciled in California. And so if things are so bad, why is investment in California continuing at
But
a
the
record
answer to that
pace?
might be there are a whole lot of reasons to be in California that have nothing to do with regulation or deregulation. I mean, things like Stanford, for Google and for Apple and for Facebook and people like that. Lots of sunshine for the movie industry. There are a lot of reasons to be in California that doesn't have to do with regulation.
I think there's a mistaken notion that somehow regulation is a bad thing, when in fact regulation is something people want. This is a democracy. California is a democracy.
Yeah.
It's in fact one of the most dynamic democracies we have in the country, where democracy actually works for a change. And people want clean air, people want clean water, people want energy efficiency. There's a goal in California to get more than 1 million electric vehicles on the road very soon. And they're on their way to doing that. But that's something that people want, and the policy is following the people's preferences.